so excited to be here on the Open Source Entrepreneur with the one and only Jimmy Norlander. Jimmy, what's going on?
Oh, well, I was going to say living the dream, but you're the one living the
New
dream right now.
backdrop. I'm here in Kauai. Like, who knew? What a perfect time to have on our guest tonight. Like,
It is perfect. I'm in my basement, so I mean, this is a win-win.
well, and the stars like actually aligned. For those of you who don't know, like you're in for a treat tonight. We have our guest Janae Jakins, who is a travel agent, and I have been dying to get her on. And she has had travel like a couple different times. It's just been this really weird game of cat and mouse. We've never been able to land her. So, like to me, this feels like a white whale because I'm like, finally, so excited to talk to Janae tonight. But before we do, Jimmy, we have got to start like we always do. I've got to jump in to take it or leave it with you. And tonight I got kind of a tricky take it or leave it for you. So here's my question. I want you to give me a hot take on the TikTok affiliate program. How do we feel about people pitching us products nonstop on TikTok well, I'm going to stop right there because I have an opinion about this, but how are we feeling, Jimmy? Are you taking or leaving the TikTok affiliate program?
What do you mean? I might be out of the loop on this one.
Oh, I caught Jimmy. So the TikTok, for those who don't know, TikTok has an affiliate program where people can sign up and they can basically sell other people's products on TikTok, right? Whether that's through like making posts about it, or sometimes they'll go live and sell like social selling live. But maybe it's just my feed, but I am like inundated with people on TikTok trying to sell me different items. I know we're all about the side hustle, and I have an interesting take on it, but I want to know your take, Jimmy. Are you stoked for
Oh,
people that are on the affiliate program, or are you like maybe not?
do you know? I I might have to go both on. I don't even know because okay, if you're trying to sell, take it because that's a good way to market, reach millions of people. But as someone that just wants to watch stupid cat videos and people dancing, leave it.
Okay. So Jimmy's got like a love hate with this one, and I will let him get off the hook a little bit with this. But I'm going to tell you my hot take. I'm actually going to say I'm going to take it, but to an extent. So the thing that I'm getting really sick and tired of in this program is seeing people who are affiliates for the TikTok affiliate program trying to sell me herbs or things that I don't think they know a lot about. They hear a little bit of research. They hear somebody before them talk about, you have high cortisol or you might have low methylfolate acid or something like that. Like, I do not think they should let people be pitching products, herbs and supplements that they're not necessarily medically qualified or super
Not
qualified to talk
research
about.
based.
Yeah, I don't care if people like sell me like tchotchkes, right? Like a book or a notebook or like countdown timers, whatever. But I do think there should be some sort of regulation when it comes to, hey, these are things you're going to put in your body, and you may or may not have this like symptom or whatever. I just do not think that part. So I'm going to overall take the affiliate program, but I wish that they would be able to say, hey, listen, you're not qualified to talk about the holistic side of things, the very serious things that if somebody takes and ingests in their body and they do it wrong, they can become sick or like unwell, right? So like I think that part I'd like to leave, but overall I'm going to take the whole affiliate program because it is an awesome side hustle. It's just that one part that I'm like, I hate that part of it where I feel like people are
Yep.
taking pills that people are pitching products they're not qualified to pitch. So
Oh,
that part I
a
do
hundred
hate.
percent. Yeah, you got those people's like, do you want to take 3 teaspoons of cinnamon a day and you're gonna lose 300
Yeah.
pounds because look at me.
Yes, that's the part that I'm like, I hate that part of it. So anyway, that's a hot take on take it or leave it. I got to jump into my quote of the week, Jimmy, and ask you about this because I love it. I read this and I fell in love with it. It says, and this is actually from one of my favorite follows. If you guys are not following Yellow Tux Jess or Yellow Tux Jesse on Instagram or TikTok, he is the owner of the Savannah Bananas. The dude is a brilliant marketing. He's just a marketing genius. You should follow him if you're not. He's got a ton of great insights. They're a fun follow anyway around. Super smart guy. He said, there's no path to success that doesn't include failure along the way. Jimmy, how do you feel about
A
that?
hundred
Yeah,
percent.
yeah, yeah.
Uh, I don't know any business owners that did not fail, or come close to failing and they're like, okay, I'm just ready to give up. There's very few people that started a business from scratch and then just had it take off. And even when it takes off, you're still scared you're gonna fail.
Yes. 100%. It's just one of those things that I do believe that people need to understand that failure is part of business. It's part of growth. It's just something that happens. You're going to learn infinitely more from your failures than your
Yep.
successes. You should enjoy the successes, but the failures are the ones that are going to hurt the most, but you're going to learn the most. And I think that if you're an entrepreneur in any way, shape, or form, or even an entrepreneur, or even just in life, you have to understand you're going to make mistakes. You cannot get through this life flawlessly. It's just not going to happen. So you can have your successes be huge wins. They can be awesome. They can be instrumental in propelling you forward. But you will learn more from your failures. I guarantee it. Still let them beat you down. I think that's where people get stuck. Is they get beat down. They're like, I'm never trying that again because that was
Well,
scary.
we talked about this very first of the year, with
Yeah.
goals, New Year's resolution. You're gonna fail.
Yeah.
It's just a matter what are you gonna do with that failing? Are you gonna be like, okay, this sucks and my resolutions are gone? Or do you like learn from it and keep on going?
Yep. 100%. 100%.
Okay, I have to
Okay.
say really quick, is that your real background?
That is my real background.
It looks like one of those
I
screensavers.
know. I was trying to get like a really cool shot. I'm a little nervous. My face is going to start to get too dark here in a second. So if it does, just like raise your hand and be like, I can't see you. And that's fine. Maybe they don't want to see me
You-
anyway.
You're in
But
Hawaii, you're getting a tan. You're good to go.
you know what I'm saying? All right. Okay, let's not delay this any farther. I'm going to pull on our guest today, and I see her on with us right now. I'm going to invite on Janae Jakins. Let me read Janae in as she's coming on. So, Janae Jakins is a dedicated mom of three and has been happily married for nearly 25 years. She has a rich career in education. She spent most of her time teaching, particularly sixth grade, and holds a master's degree in reading education. Recently, Janae embarked on an exciting new journey as a travel agent, combining her love of organization and adventure. With over a year in the travel industry, she's passionate about helping others create unforgettable experiences and explore the world. So, ladies and gentlemen, without further delay, and that was perfect timing, Janae Jakins! Janae, what's
All
going
right, you
on?
guys.
Hi,
Okay,
Janae.
you did not tell me you were going to be in Hawaii when we're doing this. I'm totally jealous.
That was a surprise just for you. I was gonna like
Uh,
lie
th-
and say that you sent me over here, but like fortunately my beautiful wife is working the event and me and my daughter, who you can't see
Oh,
just off screen, we're here to play.
you guys are all
Yeah,
there.
yeah, we're here hanging out. So it's
Oh
absolutely
my
amazing.
gosh.
We're
because
completely
doesn't his
thrilled to be here.
doesn't his background look like one of those fake screensavers?
Yes, I'm
I
totally jealous.
like listen,
I'm
I
totally
just knew
jealous.
that like when Janae finally said yes, I told Jimmy, I'm like, there's no way that we're not doing it on Thursday night. Like we are having Janae on come hell or high water. Like this has to happen.
It's so
But
true.
I am super excited. We've been trying to get Janae on, I don't know, for like a month, and she's
Yeah.
been traveling. We've like just barely missed. Like something is happening, and I'm just like, okay. I know that there are tons of people who love travel, who want to talk about, what it looks like to be a travel agent. And Janae's like I said, she's kind of grown up inside the education industry, and like Janae, it's been like the last year or so. You're like, you know what, like. I have a love of you have a love of travel, and you said there is like probably a way that I can travel for free, but B, help other people like have really cool experiences that really are going to change their life.
Yeah.
And so like I'm super stoked because Jimmy and I just talked about recently how like as my kids get older, and Janae, you're kind of in the same boat. As the kids get older, they don't want more things; they want
Mhm.
experiences. And I think you're in the business of like giving experiences to people, letting them like experience a richer life. And so I'm just really intrigued to get to know a little bit more, Janae, about being a travel agent and how that kind of like weaves in through your life now. And so I'm just actually going to throw it out there and just start and say, what inspired you to become a travel agent?
I think the very first thing as I loved planning our own family vacations, and I would like dig deep. I would be like deep into Pinterest, deep into like message boards. I'd be like all over Facebook, just getting on groups, trying to figure out information. When we did our last trip to Big
Yeah,
Island, I was like, hey, I had known nothing about Big Island. We've done Kauai, like a little, like I knew a little bit, but Big Island, I like learned it inside and out. And we just had such a spectacular time that I was like, I just love this. Disneyland, Disney World is the same thing. Like you can't just go to Disney and not just dig really deep into it. So
yeah,
planning little trips like that, I was like, I like love this so much. And then I made like my little cheat sheet and I'd send them to people. I'm like, I could like actually be making money doing what I love.
yeah.
So that's kind of where I started. Just my love of my love of learning, which is my background, and just making other people happy as we travel.
Yeah, and I love that because it is one of those things. It's really funny because my wife is still working her event that she's here for, and me and my daughter came in a couple of days early, And me and my daughter are very much like, we really rely on Natalie to say, okay, here is the schedule, here is the plan. Me and Camry have just been like loafing, relaxing, which has its place, but we're very excited for Natalie to be done with her event because she's like, okay, here's the agenda and we are
And
off,
then, yeah,
right? Um,
yeah, then it's
and and
fun.
and, and for me, Janae, talk to me like that. I always tell my wife there are vacationers and there are like trippers, right? And they're two different people.
Oh,
And it's
yeah,
like the people who are on a trip, they are the ones like you that have the spreadsheets, that have everything, and they just go. And then the vacationers are like, you know what? We're gonna wake up and see what the day brings us. Um,
exactly.
are you able to plan kind of both sides of a vacation like that for somebody?
Oh, for sure. And I think when people come to me and they say, we want to do something, those are all the questions I ask. Like, if you want to just chill, go do all inclusive. If you want to
Yes,
chill but do a little sightseeing, go do a cruise. If you want to just like go see a lot of the world, cruising is the way to go. Like, you get to see so much when you're on a cruise, and you get
agreed.
to choose how busy or how much you want to see. So there's so many questions that you can ask as an agent and advisor to know what kind of trip you want. I mean, some people usually will come to you and say, we want to cruise,
Yeah,
or we want to go to Mexico. And that's the tricky part, is like, okay, when you want to do all inclusive, do you want, to be off the beaten path, or do you want to be like right down in Cancun where everybody else wants to be, like that you see in pictures? So there's so much that goes into it, that getting into this world, I was like, holy cow, like, this isn't a little world. The travel
yeah.
agent world is not a little world.
So how, I mean, it's a little world, but you're putting a plan together. What do you do when you got a spouse that wants to go out and do something, and then another spouse that just wants to chill on the beach? I mean, because my guess
Right?
is you run into that quite often, where you have to really think outside the box to make them both happy.
Exactly. Well, honestly, like, that's where all inclusives and cruising is so fun, because yeah, if you want to split up, go do your inclusive on the beach, and you go do your little food tour of the city. So that's why cruising is, like, honestly, when people ask like my favorite way to travel, cruising is so much more affordable than, I don't know. I'm such an advocate for it, just because there's so much you can see. But then again, like, you're sitting in Hawaii, and Kauai, just looking at that beautiful backdrop,
Right.
and
Yeah,
you probably have like a hundred different things planned, from like hiking to going and trying all the food, and going and seeing all the cool beaches. So there's a
yeah.
million things you can do.
Um, so that, yeah, that was a good question, Jimmy. I really like that. I was going to piggyback up that, but I forgot what I was going to say. I was trying to get more light in my room. Do I still look okay? I'm nervous. I'm a little
You're
dark.
good. You're
Okay,
good.
Yeah.
perfect.
I was going to
Um,
say with that really quick. So I went on my very first cruise last year, and
Yes.
beforehand I was against cruises
Yeah.
because I'm like, when I go traveling, I like to go. I'm the one like going deep sea
Yeah.
fishing. I like sightseeing. And when I went on the cruise, I'm like, this is kind of like the cliff notes of all the
Yeah.
books. You kind of get a taste of everything, and then you get to decide afterwards. Let's plan a bigger trip and go all these sightseeing. I mean,
'Cause-
and it was awesome because when you came home, it was almost an excuse to go back to the boat and be like, well, I guess we can't see anymore, and we're gonna go eat some more food.
right? Then you don't even have to make your own food choices. You just go sit in the
Right.
dining room.
yeah,
And so I'm a big believer in cruises now.
Oh my gosh,
it,
yes. Well, and
it's
yours
one of
looked
those things.
fantastic.
It's one
It
of
was
those
fun.
things that like sneaks up on you. Like we've inadvertently done. I said this sounds really bad, but like we did our first cruise on purpose. The second one we did to like finish our 50 states, and then
Oh yeah,
like we
yeah.
just recently did a third one. And I was like, I told Natalie when we got back, I said, man, this like the first one I was like, whatever, but like by the third one I'm like, okay, like I kind of get it. Like I can
Yeah.
maybe do this thing. Like totally different way of traveling, which is really cool. Janae, that leads me to my next question. What are kind of some trends that you're seeing right now in travel in general? Like, what are people really leaning towards?
Well, do you want to know what's amazing is I'm already booking cruises into Alaska. Alaska is like the biggest place that people want to go right now, and I'm booking into 2027
Holy
right now. So
cow!
like 2026 cruises are like way full going into Alaska. And the really cool thing about Alaska, and they do this like in Europe, on with Europe cruises too, is they're called cruise tours. And so you go one way like go from Seattle up to Anchorage, and then you hop off and they take you on a little rail line, and then you get to go see the deep places of Alaska that you can't see on the cruise. So it kind of gives you like both ways to travel. So you have a little bit of cruising, a little bit of like touring. So you
Yeah.
can see more of the country or more of the state for us. They do lots of cruise tours in Europe. So, you go into Rome and then you get to go more into Rome, or even Egypt. Like one of the ones that's like my goal in life is to get to Egypt. So they do ones down the Nile River.
Oh,
So they
oh
cruise
man.
you down the Nile, and then you get off and you can see all of the sights down the Nile. So
That'd be
there's
cool.
like, oh my gosh, that's my dream. So
Are you then in denial when you're done with your trip?
are you kidding? So we got home last Saturday and I had the worst week of school last week. I was like, I don't want to be here.
It
It's too
there
much.
there is something, yes, it gets deep in your bones
Oh,
when you're traveling, you
oh
have to come
yeah.
back, you're like, are you kidding me?
You
Yeah.
need that
Um,
vacation from your
Oh,
vacation. You really
oh
do.
my
for
gosh. Right?
real. For real.
Yeah.
Janae, why is Alaska so popular right now? Like it is beautiful. We did an Alaskan cruise. It was amazing and I recommend it to
Yes.
everybody. But like why so like do you have any inkling as to why so far out right now?
I don't know. Oh, it's crazy. And um I don't know. I think cruising is more popular. I think people think that like pre-COVID, you could get a cruise for like $200 for a week. It was
Yeah.
so cheap. And it's not anymore. In fact, Royal just upped prices. They're trying to like see where their threshold point
The
is
breaking point.
because yeah, because people are paying whatever they want. Like I like cruises into Alaska, you're paying like 12,000 $10,000.
Oh my
And
gosh.
that was something I booked, and it wasn't even a balcony. That was an inside room.
What
That
Oh
happened
was
my
to the
with your
gosh.
pool?
cruise. I'm not joking. And that was with Royal. That was not with like Viking cruises.
Oh
That
my
was with like
gosh.
How
basic. I
many
just
people is
think
that for?
that was for a four bedroom
Oh
or
my
for a
God.
four person in a
Oh my
bedroom.
gosh.
But regardless, people are paying that because it's what the cruise lines are asking and people are paying. So yes, our economy is kind of like in this clunky spot, but people are paying for vacations. So
That is crazy.
I don't know. Yeah, it is.
That
I
is
don't know why
crazy.
Alaska is such a spot. I think it's just like everyone's kind of discovered that it's so beautiful and it's kind of the next like trendy cruise.
Yeah.
Yep.
So
Well, and I kind of get that too. I'm actually seeing that a little bit with like, so we're a Disney family. We end up going about
mhm.
every, I don't know, 18 months or so, which maybe
Right?
to some people is not a Disney
I
family,
think all
but
of us are.
yeah, we
Well,
haphazardly like
my
get
wife.
there.
Let's not throw all of us
Yeah,
in there. My wife and I tag along.
Jimmy's wife is. But that's what I've noticed about Disney recently too. Is it feels like they're also adding more and more things to say, okay, where's it finally going to break? And I
Hmm.
don't know that it's going to. Like people keep paying the prices and like I don't know. It's really crazy. But I think you're right. A lot of people are kind of pushing that threshold, saying how much are people willing to spend
Oh,
on these different types of
yeah.
travel and experiences. And I do believe that with the current administration that's in place, I think if they're able to kind of rearrange some of the things they're talking about, right? Like, I think the American people will have more money, and I'll be intrigued to see what happens
Yeah.
when people keep bumping rates. So that is very very intriguing. What you've been a travel agent for a little more than a year now.
Yeah.
What is like one of the most challenging parts? Because I don't know if people know this, but you are kind of even though you have support from like back end companies and you get different affiliate fees for people for booking trips, you are kind of a party of one. You own your
Yeah.
own company, right? How
Yeah.
do you say what's one of the most challenging parts about being a travel agent?
Honestly, it's just the education. Like travel is changing constantly. I think Disney sends me daily updates. That's something they're changing within the parks. One of their, Disney is constantly changing things, which is why it's so important to use a travel agent. Because honestly, when you're booking on the back end, if I book directly through Disney, you're not getting any help. They're still going to pay a travel agent fee and you don't pay for that, which is really cool. But probably the education piece, which is my favorite piece anyway, is learning,
Yeah,
is the hardest part of being a travel agent. Like, even to the point where when you book with an agent, I'm constantly doing work on the back end. If like with your rates, if your rates go lower, I can change that. But if I'm not watching that, nobody's going to know. So I just have to be constantly updating and educated, knowing who my people are, what they want. There's 100, like if people are booking and they want to change, I have people that have changed like their booking like 5 different times. They're like willing to change those fees because
Wow.
it's not working with their schedule, or just like keeping up with different cruise lines. Every single cruise line has different rules on everything. So just staying educated as I'm going along. So
So,
it's
What
a lot of
now?
work.
Go ahead, Jimmy.
oh, I was gonna say, so a lot of people, they think, do you know what? I don't need to waste my money on a travel agent. I'm just gonna use Expedia. It's
Mhm.
all right there for me. So those people who think they're saving, a couple bucks to do it their own, what's the advantage of getting someone to do all the hard work instead of them doing it?
Well, okay. All these companies automatically pull out a travel agent fee. So if you're going directly through Disney, they don't have to pay anybody that extra fee. So they get that. So if you're booking with a travel agent, with a cruise, with an all-inclusive, like all of these places you see, they automatically have built in a travel agent fee. So if you're not using the travel agent, then they're getting that extra money.
Gotcha.
And and they don't have to do hardly any work because you're doing all the work.
Free money.
So, yeah, it's free money for them. So they'll keep putting your prices higher if you're not using them. So, and I didn't realize that before I became an agent. Like I was doing all the hard work, but and people like to do the hard work, like, and I totally get that. But it's really cool being on my side of the world and seeing where I can save people money, where you don't see that when you're just on Expedia. And with those third party sites, I was just talking to somebody the other day about this. Like they were trying to book flights through like Kayak or third party site,
Hmm.
and trying to cancel or doing any changes with that. Like you have like half the time you can't.
Yep.
If you can, you're going to lose a ton of money because it's a third party affiliate. And when you don't book directly through the honored site, then you're losing just a lot of money, especially if you have like things are great when things go well, but when things don't go well, then
So
then you're
I have
out.
I had example of that pre-COVID. So we were all supposed to go to China,
Yes.
and so my flights and everything was through
Hmm.
Expedia, Expedia and hotels, but all the tour guides were through a travel agent.
Okay.
And when China got shut down, the travel agency gave me my money back just like that. Expedia, 19 hours I was on hold for.
Oh, and I'm not surprised.
And so there is a big difference between going through someone that knows what they're doing. They just gave us the money right back in
Mhm.
Expedia. It was like pulling teeth.
Yeah. And they probably had so many things that you had to jump through to figure out, like,
It,
was it valid to get a refund, or could they, or
it
is it
it
a
really was. They
credit,
said, well,
or
we'll give you a credit, and I said, nope. I
no?
already talked to the airline. You need to reimburse me, and they called the airline. The airline
Yeah.
agreed, but if I didn't know my own homework on that part, I would have been
Yeah.
stuck with the credit that I
Yeah.
had to use in 2 years.
Exactly. So, yeah, I don't know. There's just
So
so much to learn. There is so
Yep.
much to learn. It's been really fun.
well, and it's really intriguing, Jimmy. That was going to be my exact question. So you don't really lose anything as a client per se by using a travel agent.
Mm.
And that was, I think people frequently when they hear the word travel agent, they assume all of a sudden they've hired you, Janae, and it's going to cost it. You're going to tack a fee on top of it, and everybody's going to tack a fee on top of it. But really, you're not out of pocket anymore.
No,
You have like a huge advocate on your side for saying, let me make this a memorable experience,
exactly.
and really erase a lot of the frustration that you're going to end up with anyway, right? And so
Exactly.
that's really neat. I never actually knew that those fees were built in through Expedia because I am one that has used Expedia a ton to
Yeah.
find things, and I've had that experience where like our flight got moved, so then our hotel like we weren't going to make our connection, and like we've been ousted probably $1,000 or $2,000 because of one small mistake on
Yeah.
one like an airline's behalf or something, and it's just terrible to feel like hey, we had this vacation, we were inside of a budget, and now our budget is completely blown because um,
Yeah.
so anyway, Camry, will you come, Mom? She keeps calling me. Sorry, guys. A little, like live time, like my wife's texting
This
me.
is live. This is live.
It's very
Right.
much live.
I love it.
Um,
Oh, so jealous.
and my daughter's definitely going to lock herself out of the hotel room starting. Oh, she did. Good job. That was great. Yeah, I was like, for sure, I'm gonna have to go let her in too. Okay, so one of my favorite things that I see, because we're really good friends with Janae, and we've got a community like Facebook page. I'm in some different Facebook pages in our community. One of my favorite things is like when somebody says, "Hey, I need a travel agent. Does anybody know a travel agent?" I immediately jump to the comments because I'm like, "This is gonna be fantastic." And there's like 30 people are like, "Call so and so, call so and so," right? And I'm always like, "Janae Jenkins." How do you differentiate yourself? Because there are a lot of travel agents. Like how do you differentiate yourself in your field to say, you know what, yeah, come use me?
Yeah. You know, I'm probably not a good example. I just love helping people. I'm definitely not pushy, but my passion for travel and my passion for helping people truly comes out as who I am as a travel agent. So it's not like, okay, I'm going to get you I mean, I will get you the best deal because I know how to get the deals, but I'm not going to push you to go with me. I just honestly, it's my passion at what I do, and it's it starts with who you know,
Yeah,
and it starts with, you know, planning an awesome trip for somebody. Like I just planned a family reunion for some people in our neighborhood, and it was like the one of the first big travels I did, and it was just so fantastic when they came home and it was like, okay, how was it? Tell me how it was. Like it was so fun to hear about,
yeah.
and just being able to be a part of people's like travel experiences is just fun. So that's where my passion lies. I don't go out there and push for me to be your travel agent, but I promise you it is fun. Like I like get giddy when people say, "Let's look at this trip for me. I want to go there." And then it's like a project for me.
Well,
Well,
I think that just separated the two between you and other travel agents because look how excited you got talking about it. And I remember one time I tried using a travel agent. He's like, "Well, what do you want?" I'm like, "Well, that's what you're for,
yeah,
to kind of help me out." And so I ended up planning it myself.
Uh-huh.
But you can see how excited you get just talking about it. So I think
Yeah.
when it says what's the difference, I think that passion is a big difference.
yeah.
Yeah.
I think so too. And yes, Lonnie, you should definitely come hang out in Kauai with us. Lonnie's on, which I love.
Lonnie, we all
Uh,
need to.
yes. That kind of that like dovetails into my next question. Like, what is one? And maybe it was this family trip you booked, but what's been like one of the most memorable experiences you've been able to like book for a family or a couple or whatever? What's one of the most memorable ones that stands out?
Um I don't know. Like that one, it took it. I mean, that was one of my very first. So we booked them last January and they just
Oh,
traveled.
okay.
So that was really fun. So I was able to like use all my like super like newbie knowledge to help them find a group. Because what's really cool with like booking cruises, I go back to cruises because it's what I do the
Yeah.
most. But we're able, because I have a parent company I work under, get these group pricings that we're able to get it so much cheaper than when you go directly through the cruise
Oh,
line. And so I was able to get this like really awesome cruise for an awesome price. And so when they came back, it was just really just fun. So yeah, that was probably one of my favorite. Um, my other favorite is just like people that just have never cruised before. And so I get to give them all these like little tips and tricks and knowledge. And then I get to talk to them when they get back and just see how their experience was. So I don't know. It's all fun.
so I love that. I don't know if people just picked up on it, but one thing that you said, Janae, was not only she told us a little bit ago that not only does it not really cost you any extra money to use a travel agent, but you just said you're able to save people money because you can go through these. You have parent companies that get you better deals.
Exactly. So
So
I
there's a
work,
huge. Oh, go
yeah,
ahead.
I was going to say, so I work over a parent company, and that's how I can get all my certification. And different parent companies have different benefits. I don't pay a monthly premium to be a travel agent. They just take more of my
Yeah.
commissions, I guess. So like we split commissions. Um, but the reason why I love them so much is they are super reputable. And so they set up all these group pricings. So when I'm looking on looking for pricing for cruises, I can say, okay, I can get you group pricing here, group pricing here. And then I can go to their sites and say, holy cow. In fact, I just booked one just the other day. We're saving 1,300 per person
Whoa.
on this room on Oasis of the Seas, which was a huge
Oh, that's a
That's
shift
big
one of
one.
the
on,
new
Okay.
ones.
I think you guys did Oasis, Jimmy. Were
We
you guys
think, yeah,
Oasis?
we did. Yeah, we did
Okay.
Oasis. Yep.
It's one of their newest ones, not their biggest. Their biggest is
Hmm.
Icon. But 1,300 a person to save on an 8-day cruise is like freaking
That's
amazing. So
generous.
we're able to get like really great pricing. And so it makes it totally worth it. Sometimes I can't, like Carnival is not always going to give me benefits, but I can help get you like maybe onboard credits or different like other
Okay.
benefits that make it worth going through me. But even just like I don't know, my knowledge of knowing like the little tips and tricks that come with everything, it's just
Yeah.
like, I don't know, it's
Well,
just
What?
so,
fun.
Go ahead, Jimmy.
sorry, Casey. I was gonna say, so hopefully this doesn't get off your topic, Casey, but like when it comes to commission, like I didn't realize, like say RC Willie,
Yeah.
you order this big $10,000 sectional, whatever, free fridge, and it's 8 months out, and they
Right.
don't get paid until it's
Yeah.
delivered.
Yeah.
And so with being a travel agent, like you have a big booking, say you have a $15,000 booking, do you get paid like up front, or do you have to wait till they're actually on the boat and it's been set before you get the commission?
Right. Okay, that's a good question. So it depends. So different things happen at different times. The little things like insurances depend, and it depends on what company. So like travel insurance, they'll pay that out every couple weeks, um, whatever their schedule is. Vacations, they'll pay that out post vacation. Um, it depends on how long. Usually it's within a week of the vacation. Sometimes if it's like a group booking, sometimes that just takes longer for the cruise line to get everything settled, and so it can
Mhm.
be like a month out. Um, it just depends.
Okay,
It depends. Disney's really fast. Like Disney's like as soon as you're traveling, you get that commission. But yeah, if I like didn't have anything planned for like a year, then I'm not going to get a paycheck until those things are
we're taken care
traveled
of.
and done. Yeah.
Gotcha.
So, so traveler's insurance is one of those things that I always kind of scoff at a little
Right.
bit. As we're scrolling through, I'm like, no, there's no way I'm not going on this thing. Like, I don't need
Yeah.
traveler's insurance. Is it like, from your professional opinion, is that something traveler's insurance? Do you really need to get it?
You know, okay, this is funny because we never got it ever before.
Yeah.
But as I've been working in this industry, I'm like, okay, there are so many times that you can use this travel insurance. And when I add them onto packages, it's really not that much more. Like, and
Interesting.
it really depends. Like, usually kids, like if you book the insurance directly with the cruise line, it's like crappy insurance.
Okay.
I shouldn't say that. It's not
Too
as
late. You
good
said it.
as what I
Yeah,
can order,
we'll
with the
we'll
private
censor that
companies
part.
that we
I
use.
will not censor
Scratch
that
that.
part. That's a hot take.
Oh dang it. I'm so sorry. It's not gonna get you as good of a deal as what you can. And really, if you think about, okay, I'm spending $5,000 on this vacation and I can get insurance for 250 bucks. Like if there's anything that happens, and that's usually going to cover like lost luggage and
Okay.
um a lot of the times it will even do like if your plane's delayed or whatever. So it will cover like lots of different things. You can see how good your insurance is.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, I
so
think that's cool because a lot of people I know will say, I don't need insurance because my credit card is going to cover all of it.
uh-huh.
And in reality, it might not cover it. So going through you, they know exactly what's going to get covered, and
Yeah.
they're not shocked if something bad happens.
Yeah. There's even like if you book it straight away, you get pre-existing conditions covered. So say you have like diabetes and right before the cruise you have something that happens with that pre-existing condition, you're covered if you booked that insurance within the time frame,
Wow.
versus if I booked it like way later and just was like, okay, I'll just hurry and get the insurance before I leave on my trip. You have to always get it 2 weeks before, then it can't be covered, and you're like can't go on your vacation. So I don't know. There's all these little things that you just don't think about until it arises, and then you're like, "Well,
Yeah.
dang, I should have spent $200 because now I lost 10,000 on my trip that I had planned."
Well, and
So,
I think Janelle, you're speaking specifically to a point of like this is why people should use a travel agent. Like I
mhm.
said, we're normally our family's normally ones that were like because we had a goal when our kids were growing up to get to all 50 states, and so we said, okay, we're going to
Right,
book all of our own things. Like we're just going to make it happen. But I can see now the wisdom in saying, hey, Janae probably could have saved us some money. She could have got us to different places that we
mhm.
couldn't have otherwise. And to be clear, you're not necessarily restricted just to Disney or cruises.
Right,
Like you're able to help people plan a variety of things. You specialize in those. But anywhere somebody wants to go, you like, hey, tap Janae and she can help you find whatever you're looking
right.
for.
Like I really am certified in like almost everything. I can do like right now I'm working on my first Europe trip, which I'm super excited about because I've never been to Europe and it's actually my family's trip that they've
Nice.
put me in charge of. So, and my parents have done Europe a lot. So I'm like, well, give this to me and let me like figure it all out because I want to be able to do, open my world up.
Yeah.
So, but yes, I can do like if you wanted to go do the redwoods, like I have different really fun packages that are redwoods. I have fun golfing packages that I should say everyone love to. I'm not a golfer, which is why I said that. Anyway, there's like golf packages where you can go like on a golf trip, and it's like a special golf package that these companies put together that I'm affiliated with that I can book. So yeah, the sky is the limit when it comes to vacation.
Yeah, literally something for everyone. What are some common kind of misconceptions that people have about travel agents? Like, do you have limitations set on you? We kind of already talked about the price point. Like, we can remove that. That's not an issue for people. So if you guys are afraid of using an agent because of that, just push past it because it's not a thing. But
Right.
what are some common misconceptions people may have about a travel agent?
Um, well, I will say really quickly with the price point, some agents do tack on a fee. So that is something when you're using an agent, make sure to ask them like what fees do you have? Because agents can, a lot don't.
Okay.
Because so agents will say like if you want me to look for something, I'll charge you this much. If you go with me, we'll take it off or whatever. So that is something to clarify with your agent when you go with them, because they're allowed to tack on a fee. My biggest restraint is if someone calls me and says I need flights to Seattle. I'm not a flight agent. I cannot just book flights. But
Okay.
if you want me to book you flights to Seattle and a hotel, I can do flights plus hotel.
Okay.
So unless you're
That's,
doing international flights, but honestly, like I'm not getting you great deals.
that makes
I have
complete
a
sense.
wholesale dealer for international, but the fees that are attached to that just are not what you can get when you go directly through the airline. It's just not worth it.
That
So,
makes sense.
So,
so I want to ask really quick with that tacking things on. Say someone calls you up and they're like, "Okay, Janae, I want my tr everything taken care of, but I have a Delta card that I want everything put on." So, are you able to do that where they get the rewards for their points, but yet you can still you
like
can go
you
through you can go through they have Delta, so they only fly Delta. Are you able to do that where you can still give a package, but they can still use
like use your Delta
those
point.
rewards? Yeah.
Yeah, in fact, I book through Delta Vacations a lot. That's one of them that I can use, and so that's actually really easy once, like if you want to use your Delta points. I can also book like if I'm using Delta Vacations, like that portion of your trip is paid for with your points, and then your hotels or whatever that are part of the vacation. That's something that's just your package that you
Okay, gotcha.
purchased through me. So yeah, you definitely can use points. In fact, that's like a really common thing because so many of us like we travel because we get points and we get
Yeah.
points so we can travel. So,
That's why I travel.
Yeah.
right? Trying to
Um,
get points everywhere so we can afford to travel.
Yes.
yes. Janae, I know that travel changes a lot. We kind of already talked about
Oh
that.
yeah.
There's, new ships coming out. There's new things happening. How do you stay up to date on like trends and locations and advancements that happen kind of inside your industry?
Oh my gosh. So that's truly where like all the education comes in. That's really fun. Like I do yearly renewals. Like in fact, I've just been doing those like over Christmas break. That's how I spent my time, which I
Nice.
enjoy.
You travel agents
So
are crazy.
I just think it's fun, but obviously I'm a teacher, so that's my world. But I just, in fact, I did another training with Marriott. So like once a year, I renew all of my certifications, so I know like what the newest things are that's coming down the pipeline. So that's really where it stems, is lots of education. My parent company puts out, we do webinars all of the time.
Okay.
Today they put out one on a new trend in the insurance industry. And so when I have downtime, that I'll just turn on one of my little webinars and learn a little bit more about what's going on or whatever.
Turn
So there's
the
just
lights
always
down
stuff
low and
going
start
on.
listening to the webinars.
That's right. That's right. Uh,
I know, right? Real
So
fun at our
I
house.
do want to pause briefly and just have a massive just make sure everybody knows that, hey, if you have a question for Janae about being a travel agent, please drop it, or even about a vacation or something. Drop your comments and we'll get to those relatively quickly. Lonnie has one I see there on there. Lonnie we'll get to. But if anybody else has any questions for Janae, please make sure you drop those in the comments. Janae, what is one piece of advice you give to somebody who is planning a trip? Like, what should they be prepared with when they come to you? How can your relationship and your experience just be smooth and seamless?
Um, just I guess maybe first of all, have an idea about where you want to go.
Okay.
Not even where you want to go, but what kind of vacation you want. Relaxation versus like sightseeing, because if you do Europe, that's definitely a different trip than
Yes.
going and sitting at the beach. Um, know your budget. I think budget is the biggest thing, and I think people come to me and say, "Well, we want to do like there's six of us. We have $2,000. We want to go on a 7-day cruise." And then you're like, "Well, it's not going to happen, but let's see what we can do." Whether or not you fly or drive, like that's a big factor
Yeah.
at where you're going to be able to go. But budget is probably the biggest thing, and I think people get a little shell shocked, sticker shocked, when they're like, is that really it? And there's like always going to be, so there was a law that was passed that everything that is posted has to have all the taxes and fees involved. So that was a law that was passed in California a little while ago. So when you look at things now, you can say, okay, that's taxes and fees. That doesn't still include your gratuities, because gratuities are something you pay on a cruise.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Gratuities are something you pay at an all inclusive, and that's not included in that price, because technically they can't, but they will put your card on file and you will be charged those fees. So
Okay.
it's something to know that that's part of your budget. So,
Yeah. So tell me realistically, when people are coming to, like, because there are some just unrealistic expectations, like a family of six for $2,000. Like, thank you, not going to
right?
happen, right?
Good luck.
What is kind of
Sorry.
a quasi typical like budget you should have? Let's kind of throw out two scenarios. What, like, scenario number one? uh, I don't know what the average family size is right now. Let's assume a family of four, right? That seems like
Hmm.
what everything's based off of. And they want to go on a cruise. What's kind of a healthy-ish budget to say you can go on this type of a cruise, have a nice experience, and not penny
Yeah.
pinch, right? But just have a nice
Yeah.
experience. And then what does it look like to say, just because a lot of people in Utah love Disney, what is kind of a typical Disney budget that you should have, right? Let's assume that you're maybe on property, right? Like, what's a typical,
Oh, yeah.
not Jimmy size budget, what's a typical Disney budget for a typical cruise budget?
Oh my gosh. Okay, so cruise budget, I'll just throw this right out here. We just did our family of four. So we took our boys on a royal cruise down in the Caribbean. It was on one of their smaller ships. I wanted to try one of their really small ships because people are nervous about their small ships. Um, with our flights, we used points, but the cruise itself was like 2,600, and that was for four of
Okay.
us for a 5-day
Oh,
cruise.
wow.
Um, and we booked it in December and we just went in
Oh,
January. So we booked it about 6 weeks out. Again, I'm looking at my site constantly trying to find these fun deals. You're not really going to get last minute deals, I think, like you used to, because they cruises are filling
yeah.
up. Um, so you can do, I mean, especially if you're going to do a Carnival cruise, um, let's say Carnival cruise out of Ensenada and you drive down. So you're out of California, you can find a 5-night for like 300 a person.
Oh, okay.
Like you could get something affordable like that out of California for 300 a person. I always say tack on another 100 for your gratuities. So even if you're planning 500 a person on that, that's a pretty affordable cruise.
Hmm.
You take Breeze Airways out of Provo. I
Yeah.
mean, it gives you lots of options, right?
Yeah. So you can make
Um,
it. And just so people know, tell them what a small ship is, because I'm always intrigued by small ship versus
Yeah.
big ship. A small
Oh
ship
my
is still
gosh.
good size.
Absolutely. I know. In fact, I showed my students this cute comparison picture of our tiny ship next to a Norwegian, it was the Norwegian breakaway that has um, it has like a zip line and it has like a ropes course on the top
Oh
of
yeah,
it. And it's just like this baby ship with this like huge ship next to it.
that's
And then
hilarious.
I showed them a picture of the ship alone and they're like, that's not a little ship.
Yeah,
I was like, it technically is. So there was 2,500 people that are on this small ship,
yeah.
and we were 11
Oh,
decks. So that was
okay.
like their baby ship. It's their vision class. This was a whole new world too, learning about cruise ships. Sorry, I could talk years about this.
Yes.
Um, then they have the Icon of the Seas, which I can't even remember. In fact, I have a book over here I could look, but it's 19 decks and it's like triple wide.
Yeah.
So vision class is like you have your balconies, you have your interiors, and then everything else. Well, Icon has like a whole world in the middle of the ship, and then there's like triple wide. It's like triple wide. In fact, it can't even get into very many ports. So you'll go to Nassau and maybe a couple others is all. So
And
yeah, there are ship sizes. And that's something to look at too when you're looking at cruising. I mean, even when it comes down to Disney cruises, they are putting out one of their new ships, but all of their ships are different themes. So that's another thing that I educate myself on. So when you're just online booking and just grab a cruise, then you don't know, is that going to be a ship you like or what? I mean, they're all going to be awesome ships, but
yeah, but there are
it is
definitely, I mean, there
the
are,
world.
and there are definitely some ships that are like aged a little bit, right? And they've gone through maybe
Oh yeah.
renovation. But like we've been on a couple of Royal Caribbeans that are nice, but you're like, oh yeah, I can see that this used to be like
Hmm.
their top tier. Now it's like it's nice, right?
Uh-huh.
And so yeah, definitely be prepared for that. They're not all going to be Icon of the Seas, right? They definitely
Exactly.
some of them show their age just a little bit. They're safe, but they show their age a little bit.
Yeah.
And it's really intriguing because Natalie and I just did a cruise in Europe, and we were on
Oh,
one of their smaller ships.
yes.
And I think we were 3,500-ish people. Is that right, honey? How many
Okay.
people in that boat? Like somewhere around 3,500 people, but there's like 1,000 staff members, right? Or 1,200 staff
Yes.
members. And so it's like you're really on that ship with like 5,000 people.
Yeah.
So it's still very much like a good sized ship. Now give us kind of a breakdown of like what a healthy Disney budget would be on that.
Well, I guess it depends on where you're staying. So I'll start Disney World because that's what has my heart.
Yeah.
So if you have, so we used to be a family of five before Addie got married. So I'll go maybe our last. So this is 2022, I'm thinking.
Okay.
We stay on property. When you do Disney World, I suggest always stay on property. It's the best way to
Good.
travel to Disney
Very
World.
nice.
Um, and you have to do 5 days. Like it's just
Hmm.
out of the question to do any less. Like Disney World is so big
Yeah.
that doing any less is you're just not going to see hardly anything. So I would like a healthy 5 day Disney trip on property. You're looking at like 8,000. Jimmy,
Okay.
would you agree with that one, Jimmy?
I'm like so
Would
little.
Eight
No,
eight thousand.
I'm
um
just, I'm just
Well,
kidding. No, yeah,
the
that sounds
cool
about
thing
right.
with Disney is they're bringing back their dining plan. So if you book
Oh,
on, they just brought it back for like a couple of the on places you stay. But wow, that is so worth it if you can book when they are paying your dining plan because I mean, we have teenage boys. We
Yeah.
spend a lot of money on food.
Yes.
And Disney is not cheap on
no.
food at all. I mean, nowhere is cheap on food, and feeding teenage boys is not cheap. But yeah, 8 to 10,000 is I mean, really
Is
logical.
a reasonable budget.
Disneyland, yeah, Disneyland, staying on property, even for like 3 days, you're going to be looking at like
Yeah.
$4,000 easily
Yeah.
for a family of four. Um,
Yeah, I was gonna
food,
say
And I was gonna say,
a perk with on Disney. I know we stayed on one time on property at Disneyland, and honestly, a good perk is getting in that 30 minutes early.
oh,
We went on
that,
4 or 5 different rides before it even opened, and then when it
oh
opened, it was like
yeah,
the Walking of the Dead, just walking down the
that is
street.
you never get that, so that's awesome.
well, and I'm gonna say
Yeah,
it just
that's definitely a perk.
and for our listeners, really like 8 to 10,000 is like a reasonable budget for just Jimmy and his wife. Like that's just the two of them going. I don't know
I
if you've
wish.
heard of Club
I drive
32.
a
That's Jimmy's
Hyundai.
jam. I'm just kidding. Janae, what are some destinations or travel experiences that you think everybody should have at least once in their lifetime?
Um, oh gosh. I'm a beach girl, so I feel like I need to hit every single beach in the whole world. I will say one of our very favorite family trips has been Big Island.
Okay.
We spent we spent a good week in Big Island, and we honestly could have been there another 5 and not have seen everything. Big Island is so underrated. It has like, I think it's like 8 out of the world's 12 different climates
Oh,
just
geez.
on the island. And please quote me if I'm wrong. That's probably embellished or out of the way, but it has a lot of the world's climates just there. So, um, it is just, oh, it's just absolutely beautiful. You guys need to hop on your little like Hawaiian Airs and get your little guava juice and hop over there when you're done
Get over
over
there.
there. I
Um,
mean, I love Kauai. Don't get me wrong. Kauai is just gorgeous, but Big Island had so much to offer, and there was just a million things to see. It has 2 national parks there.
yeah,
Um, it's just really cool. Really,
yeah.
really cool place.
Well, and Lonnie says the Bahamas.
Yes,
Have you been to the Bahamas?
Lonnie. Bahamas is A plus, and the fun thing about Bahamas is there's like all these little like we did Bimini, which is like a little island of the Bahamas.
Okay.
And so like the ships will have these little private islands like Half Moon
Yeah.
Cay, like those are all
Castaway.
pieces of the Bahamas which are just beautiful. And the water in Bahamas is beautiful.
Gorgeous.
Um
Just gorgeous.
Lonnie, Germany is on my I that's actually my trip I'm planning for next year for
Germany
Gail
is
and me with
beautiful.
my family.
Nice.
So
I love it.
maybe I need to come hit you up for ideas on Germany.
Yeah. So Lonnie did ask, and we covered it a little bit, but I would love to just hit Lonnie's question. He said, "What drove you to become a travel agent?" So we hit that again.
Just yeah. I'll just again, I'm a teacher by heart, and so learning is just my favorite thing in the world, and just really understanding like if I'm going to go somewhere, I want to know exactly where I'm going. And so just I've over the years educated myself so much on these places of travel that I was like why am I not helping other people doing something like with my knowledge that I'm learning and
Yeah.
loving. So there you
Well, and I don't think
go,
that
Lonnie.
I don't know that we've actually hit this. Janae, if you feel comfortable, would you actually tell people, because I think people are saying this could be a legitimate side hustle for me. I think a couple of things that you've mentioned that they would really want to have is like you have to have a love of like learning and education, right? To be able to research and understand what's going on. You're going to
Hmm.
need to have a love of like a little bit of self promotion, right? You can get word of mouth, and
Yeah.
as your clientele grows, you do need to be like put yourself out there and say, hey, I can help you with this. So there needs to be some of that. But talk to us about the financial side of it. What is kind of the commissions that can come in? And certainly there are people who this is their full time gig, and so we
Yeah.
recognize that the range of what you can make is maybe limitless. I don't know,
Oh yeah.
but you can certainly make a lot. But what's kind of a standard commission setup for a travel agent?
So, okay, so for everything that I book, I share 50% with my parent company. There are other companies out there that you share way less than that. But for me, I have so many resources available and so many more affiliations that I share that it's worth it for me because I didn't get in this for like a full-time
Yeah,
job. I think maybe one day if I could, I might just quit teaching because it's exhausting. But um like for like a real travel agent to do that full time, you are going to be working your butt off. Like it's not something that I could live full time off of unless I'm out there promoting myself constantly. And
yeah,
at that point I'm hiring other people because it's a lot of work. Um but it's realistic bringing in a couple hundred a month,
okay,
and it all depends on where your people are booking. And for me, it's like, okay, that's my travel fund
yeah,
Hmm.
for me to travel. So for me, that was what was exciting was I was like, oh, I can create like I'm doing something that I love, creating my little travel fund, and then being able to fund my travel.
yeah.
So if you did this full time, and there are people at my company that are making like 50,000 a month,
Oh, geez,
but they have got to be
yeah,
busy. Also, it depends on who your clientele is. If I'm booking Viking cruises, people are spending $50,000 on a Viking cruise. And if you're
That's true.
getting 10% of that, you're getting a great
Yeah.
commission.
Yeah.
But, my people are booking Carnival and Royal and, all inclusives that are just, we're families. That's who
Yeah.
we are. And so it depends on who your clientele is
Okay.
too.
So you can really make anywhere from a couple hundred to tens of thousands of
Oh
dollars a
yeah.
month. And I
Oh
do
yeah.
anticipate, and you mentioned at the beginning, Janae, this is, I think as you move into like a full-time travel agent, that's probably where you start to see
Mhm.
some of the people saying, hey, I'm going to do a lot of work. I need to get paid regardless if you go on this trip. That's probably where you see a lot of those fees kind of come into play, where you're like, hey, I'm going to
Exactly.
charge you 100, 150. I'll waive it, if you book with me. But like, and so that part of it
Right.
does make sense, right? Because you are doing the work, and
A
it's
lot of
incredibly
fun.
frustrating to do a lot of work and then say, I'm not going to book with you. Like that has to be
Mhm.
very frustrating. So I totally get
Yeah.
that side of it. I totally get that side of it. Um,
Right.
okay, wonderful. Jimmy, do you have any other questions? Like this has been really eye-opening.
It's been
What a
awesome,
fun,
actually.
yeah, it's been so fun. And like, I'm super ready to like funnel everybody I know to Janae to say, hey, if you want a dream experience, tap into Janae because
You're
this is
awesome.
really what it's all about is not only us supporting like the entrepreneur community, but I told this when Jimmy and I started the podcast, we live in a freak of a neighborhood where there are so many entrepreneurs. And
Yes.
when we help other
Oh my
people
God.
share, right? When we funnel
Uh,
business to other people, and more so when we funnel business to our neighbors, not to say, hey, give me a good deal or like waive your fee for me, but I love your service. Like,
mhm.
and I've seen Lonnie talk about this too, where like if I have Lonnie do work on my house, I'm not saying, hey, will you do it for free because we're buddies? Like, go out and pay your
Right.
friends what they're worth, right? Like they're doing you a service and
Right.
favor, and support small businesses and local businesses. So I just love the community we live in.
Yeah.
One last call for any questions for Janae. If we don't see those come in, then we'll move on to one of my favorite parts of the episode where Jimmy's going to give us a mental health moment. So we'll go a little bit farther. Jimmy, do you have any other questions for our lovely Janae?
Yeah, same thing as you said. I like very intrigued, and I'm like, this is actually pretty cool. And having seen your passion behind it
Yeah.
made it even more fun. Like, okay, like being a travel agent can be a
Yeah.
It's so
blast.
fun.
If you're not freaking loving Janae's energy and realizing that this lady's gonna help you book the plan, like the dream vacation, then you guys are asinine. Like I love how excited she gets about saying, I'm gonna jump into spreadsheets and I'm gonna do this, and I'm like, great, that's all the
Right.
things I hate about traveling.
So
Like
crazy.
Natalie and I tease all the time because I will get a vacation like up and going and out the door, and like I'll get it like 60 or 70%. And then like I have to hand it over and say, hey babe, I need you to plan the day to day, like because she geeks out about that. I don't.
Yeah.
And so there's like, I love that you have that passion to drive somebody's dream vacation forward. And so, Janae, thank you so much for being on with us. I know that we've been trying to do this for several months, and it's been
Yeah.
as absolutely wonderful as I thought it was going to be. Just your passion for
Thank
traveling, your
you.
passion for education. It is just wonderful. If you guys haven't used a travel agent, please make Janae your number one go-to and like absolutely fall in love with her. If you want to like ping her on social media, she has a beautiful Instagram account, which I love. It's easy to find. Janae, share it with the folks. What's your Instagram handle?
Oh, my handle is just add travel 7.
Just add travel
Just
seven. I giggle
add
every
travel
time I see it.
7.
I'm like, of course it would be like a travel thing. So like hit her up on
Just like
Instagram, just add travel seven. If you're in our neighborhood, just text her and like she'll get back with you. But like absolutely
for
amazing,
sure.
Janae. Thank you for being with us and sharing your knowledge with us. And Jimmy, I actually want to turn it over to you for our mental health moment to wrap it up.
Perfect.
Perfect.
So I was thinking of something that could kind of go along with the travel agency part, with a little mental health moment. So I have one down this, and I put just like packing light makes traveling easier, letting go of stress, anxiety, and unrealistic expectations can make your journey more enjoyable. So before your trip, take the time to mentally declutter, practice mindfulness, set realistic expectations, focus on the present, and relaxed mind makes the best the best travel companion. So, and do that, and life will be
I
great.
Perfect.
love it. Thank you so much, Jimmy, for your mental health moment. Janae, thank you so much for being on with us, you guys. And thank you for all you weirdos who are entrepreneurs as well. Get out there, make it happen. We'll see you guys next week.
Awesome.
Thanks,
Thank
guys.
you.
Bye, guys.